Grief is a process, it never goes away, but we have choices in life to be able to live and move forward for those we love and to make the most of our time that we have on earth. Giver was his last words said to me before he had died, so that has huge importance to me. My name is Melissa Churchill, and I'm looking to talk about my wonderful husband Shannon and what he meant to me, and also how I'm choosing to embrace life and to move forward in a way that allows me to live the rest of my days in a way that I know he would be very proud. I know I will never in my life know anyone else like Shannon ever again. He always said, you know, he lived his life in spite of cancer. He refused to let cancer ever take over, so he was living beyond it. Shannon had a list of things that he wanted to do in his life, and actually it ranged from things that were very simple to very slightly more grandiose things that he wanted to do in his life that were important to him. And he made those things happen, so much of it before he died.
So a bucket list?
Yeah, a bucket list, absolutely a bucket list. And it was something that I could do that would be a good thing for me and a good way to remember him always and the influence and impact that he had on my life.
Joining a choir,
Learning French,
taking via across our beautiful
getting
country,
to Antarctica somehow,
hiking
to
be
Everest
in
Base
Ireland
Camp,
on
getting
St.
up
Patrick's
north.
Day. I'd love to see you north.
So this is my handwritten list. Some things were checked off. Riding around the Nurburgring. So I went around the lap in a passenger taxi at a very, very, very high speed. My husband was a huge Formula One fan. He would arguably tell you that the Nurburgring was one of his favorite tracks, if not his favorite track. So his dream had always been to get there. And so I did that in his memory, and I spread some of his ashes there too. I, many years ago, cross-country skied, so I decided to embrace cross-country skiing and downhill skiing, which I have thoroughly enjoyed this year. We just need more regular snow for cross-country. Really and truly, it's so good and so refreshing to get outdoors. I think from a mental health perspective, it works wonders. A trip to the Grand Canyon with my sister-in-law, Shannon's sister Becky. Shannon had very much so wanted to get to the Grand Canyon but never got there. So we took some of his ashes to spread out there, and we also did a helicopter ride as well over the canyon, which was absolutely phenomenal and something that both of us will never forget. The day that Shannon was told that he had 2 to 3 months left to live, we were sitting there in the waiting room, myself and Shannon and his parents, and there was a lady across from us. She was very engaging, just very real, and it really struck me that the way that she was talking about it and her approach was similar to Shannon's in the sense that she was extremely accepting, and she was laughing and, you know, having a good time, and it stuck with me. A few months later, after Shannon had died, I saw an article online and whatnot of this woman and realized that it was Audrey Parker. And I read her story and read, you know, her how she was approaching cancer, how she was approaching terminal cancer. So I reached out to Audrey just on Facebook, on Messenger, and sent her a couple of really nice notes. She wrote back to me right away. I explained to her who my husband was and how he had written his own obituary as well. So we had a little bit of communication back and forth just online. And the last message I sent to Audrey was a couple of weeks before she had died, and I just wanted to let her know how much of an impact that she had had, again, on my life, because it was another person who had such a similar mindset I felt to Shannon's, that they were just embracing the time that they had. This is my cat. We're cat people. Shannon and I both loved cats. After Shannon had passed away, about a month or so later, I had randomly been online and just saw a picture come up on a Facebook feed, and there was a cat up for adoption that had just arrived by the name of Deadpool. And Deadpool was a nickname heavily used for Shannon by our friends and our family. There were quite a few similarities with the character and Shannon. So I went and met Deadpool, and within a couple of minutes I told them there that I had to adopt this cat. She's pretty special, and so I brought her home a couple of days later, and she's just been, at my side ever since. I'm not a big sign person, although I do know that many of my friends and family would probably disagree with me on this point because they truly think that Shannon, may have brought me Deadpool. But if anything, at the very least, it's a wonderful, amazing coincidence, and one that I'm very grateful for. He gave me the greatest gift in my life, and that was basically how to live. The bucket list is a way of knowing, based on how he lived, that we all need to embrace our life. We have one shot at this life, so I looked at it as an opportunity for me, not knowing how much time I have on this earth, none of us do, to really take that opportunity and write some things down and see what I could do with that, and to actually make something special and personal to me that would bring me joy through the rest of my life, both for myself and for the memory of him too.